Hey. Good evening. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. This is your girl, Terrell Ravenel, wife success coach, helping you to improve communication and maximize intimacy in your marriage so that you can partner with your husband and build a God-centered marriage. Marriage is a God idea. And when you leave him out of the equation, therein lies trouble. Hey everyone, come on in. As you come in, let me know where you're chiming in from. We are starting our new series. Happy July. Yay! Happy July, everyone. I'm excited about this series. I hope you are too. Come on in the room. We're talking about building and rebuilding trust. Building and rebuilding trust in marriage. So if you know someone that has that are married and their trust has been violated, this can be by infidelity, lying, a variety of things, doing their partner wrong in any case, then please stay on and invite them to come and listen, because there is hope after what seems like a very hopeless situation. These conversations will surround more so the infidelity and cheating in marriage. And what I want to say, I'm gonna go ahead and say this and just lay this on out. I strongly believe that the root of every marital issue, every marital problem is communication. I'm going to say that again. I strongly believe that the root of every marital situation, circumstance, problem, issue is communication. Because if you are not communicating, or if you have a lack of healthy communication, then all types of stuff can go wrong, right? So if your partner is feeling like they're not loved, if they don't feel like they're satisfied, or if they're not satisfied, if they're not fulfilled, if they're not able to communicate that with you, then hey, other things can happen. So the root is communication. So please go ahead and come in before we get started, you guys. Tag, share, and invite. Please tag, share, and invite. I did post this. I'm going to see if I can post it on my page. I did post this on in my group and also my public page, but I want to also post it on my page. Let me know who's on. Hello. Come on in, guys. Come on in. I'm just loving my locks, you guys. They are growing like crazy. I'm 7 months in. I got them in December, and it's like no taming. So it's just they're what they are, right? They are what they are right now. Let me see if I can post this on my page. I'm looking forward to having a healthy discussion on tonight. Oh, I can't. It's not on my page. It's weird. Okay. Let's see. Love don't live here anymore. Love don't live here anymore. As you come in, just let me know who you are, where you're chiming in from, because I can't see your information here. So let me know who you are and where you're chiming in from. So I'm going to share with you all some facts. I want to share some facts, and we'll get into the conversation. And these segments are about 20 to 30 minutes long, so I won't keep you long, I promise. But I want you to tune in. Come on and tune in. Here are some facts and statistics about infidelity, betrayal. It's about 30 to 60% of all married individuals in the United States engage in infidelity at some point in their marriage. And when we talk about infidelity, that can be emotional and or sexual, right? So it's not always sexual infidelity. It's not always a physical form of cheating. Sometimes it's an emotional form of cheating. And if that emotional form of cheating is not, it does not cease, then it can and will turn into a physical form of cheating or infidelity. About 2 to 3% of all children are a product of infidelity. And typically those children are not raised by their biological fathers. Infidelity is becoming more common. They say those that are under the age of 30, and it used to be men would cheat or be unfaithful toward their wives more than women. But now research is seeing that more women are finding themselves in situations where they are cheating on their husbands, and that's both physical and also emotional. And I have my reasons. Hey, cuz I have my reasons in what I believe the reason it is. But hey, we'll have that conversation. I have my thoughts about that, right? There are no signs, there are no definitive signs. I mean, there may be some things you may think that's going on in your marriage, but sometimes there are no signs. Sometimes you don't know what's going on. Sometimes, again, if you're not communicating, you don't know if your partner is happy. You don't know if they still love you. You don't know if they're still in love with you. You don't know if they're satisfied in the bedroom. So many things you don't know if you're not communicating with your spouse. Emotional infidelity compared to just physical infidelity can affect you just as much. Many people believe that, well, it's an emotional affair and I'm fine with that. Well, an emotional affair can be just as bad as a physical affair, because when you're emotionally connected to someone, you're emotionally connected to their soul, and perhaps your spouse does not have that same emotional connection with you, but here they are able to have that with someone else. So that can definitely pierce you more than the physical connection. Emotionally, it is possible to have feelings for more than one person at a time. Pragmatically, loving more than one person is difficult to do, and in many cases, infidelity never gets discovered. So those are just a few facts about infidelity. And if you are in this place right now, I just want to say that there is hope, even in a situation that looks hopeless. There is hope in you rebuilding your marriage. There is hope in you rebuilding trust, and you don't have to continue to stay in that place. I want to go ahead and just put that out there. So my belief when I talked about communication being the root cause of of infidelity, and most marital problems that we have, I often say this, and I'm going to continue to say this. Many of us did not grow up in households where the communication was healthy. Many of us grew up in households where our parents, if we had two parents in the home, they fought, they had disagreements, they had arguments, but we did not see the conflict resolution. We saw conflict. We saw a lot of conflict, but we didn't see conflict resolution. Many of us grew up in homes or were environments where fathers cheated, grandfathers cheated, great grandfathers cheated, and that was just the way to go. That's just what happened, right? You may hear people say, well, that's just what happened. You stay with your husband no matter what. You don't give up on your marriage no matter what. You just stay. He's always going to love you. He's always going to come back home, and all of these things. And while some of those things may be true, I don't believe in abuse. When you start getting into habitual behavior, that's abuse. So if you are habitually walking out on your wife, or stepping out on your wife, or stepping out on your husband, then that becomes a habitual behavior, and that's a problem. So first and foremost, when we're talking about building trust and rebuilding trust in your marriage, you have to first realize that there is hope, right? There is hope. We can have love after this. We can have joy after this. We can have a healthy marriage after this. But you have to have in your mindset that there is hope. There is hope. And if somebody can scribe for me, that'd be great. There is hope. Number one, just realize there is hope. You can see a slew of marriages that have gone through infidelity, have gone through levels of betrayal, and they have been able to overcome. And I praise God for those couples. I do want to say this. You don't have to go through that in order to have a healthy marriage. You do not have to go through that in order to have a healthy marriage. It saddens me to some degree when I see couples who've been married for 40 and 50 years and sometimes 60 years, and individuals put them on this platform or pedestal, if you would, saying that, oh my God, they were married for 50 years, but the husband cheated on his wife for 20 of those years. And in some cases still. That is not healthy. And to me, that's not what a healthy marriage looks like. I understand people make mistakes. I understand that we are to forgive one another and repeatedly. However, me repeatedly forgiving you does not mean that you repeatedly walk out on me or step out on me. That does not mean you repeatedly cheat on me. That does not mean you repeatedly betray me. And I think people have that mixed up. So yes, you were married for 40 years, but your spouse cheated on you for 20 of those years. And again, in some cases still, and you had 5 outside children. That's not healthy. And that's not a marriage that I want to role model after or that I respect. just to be very honest with you. Just to be very honest with you, until you turn from that behavior, that's not a marriage that I would want to look at to get any type of advice or any type of wisdom. And that's just my personal opinion and my 2 cents. Okay. So number two, so once you realize that there is hope, number two has to be, okay, whoever is the offender, the person offending the marriage, they have to make up in their mind that they are going to stop that behavior. So whether that's infidelity, whether that's the lying part of it, whether that's them being insensitive or being inconsiderate to you, to the marriage as a whole, they have to make up in their mind that they have to stop that behavior. Stop that behavior. And in some cases, they need help in stopping that behavior. In some cases, they need therapy. They need a counselor. They need a professional, some type of professional, be a spiritual or natural professional, to be able to help them to stop that behavior. Because this is the thing. All infidelity that happens does not happen because people are unhappy and they don't love their spouses. Sometimes it's convenience. Sometimes the opportunity just presents itself. Sometimes it's a lack of self-love and they're reaching for something. They're searching for something. So they do that by way of infidelity. Sometimes they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong things, and they get caught up in those situations. Sometimes it's things that are going on in the marriage, and because they are unable to communicate what's going on, how they're feeling, why they're feeling, instead of talking to their spouse, they go and talk to someone else. Instead of forgiving their spouse because of that argument that they had, or because of the tension in the home, instead of ridding that, they go and find pleasure somewhere else, because it's not necessarily love, it's pleasure. Infidelity is not based on love. It's not based on because I love that other person. It's based on because I want pleasure. I want something that I cannot have. I'm desiring something that I don't have. So I'm seeking other resources, if you would, to satisfy that for me. So after you realize that there is hope, okay, and if you made a decision to stay, the person that is the offender has to then stop the behavior or make a decision at this point. I'm stopping the behavior. So that's cutting off all communication with that person or with those people, staying out of that environment, staying out of that community. You have to make up in your mind that that's what you are going to do, because the bulk of your marriage surviving this and being able to thrive through this is your participation in this. I'm going to say it again. The bulk of your marriage surviving this and thriving this is you. You have to have the bulk of the participation. Most of the participation and most of the work falls on the person that offended, the person that violated, the person that betrayed the marriage. Number three, you partner with your spouse on the journey to healing. Now, partnering with your spouse is not constantly blaming them. Is not constantly talking about the affair. And in some instances, you have to talk about the affair. You have to get that help. God bless you if you're able to not go to a therapist or a counselor or a coach to help navigate you through that process. But if you do, then that's great as well. And that's something I would strongly recommend. However, you have to partner with your spouse on their healing journey. Partnering with them is supporting them. And it's going to be hard because they violated the trust. It's going to be hard because they betrayed you. It's going to be hard because they hurt you and you are still hurt. However, when you see that they are making the effort to heal and they are making the effort to show up in that marriage better than they were before, or period, because they weren't before, right? You have to make up in your mind that you have to partner with your spouse. And as you're partnering with your spouse, number 4 will be you simultaneously healing. And get this, partnering with your spouse doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything you're doing physically, because the physical part of your healing is going to be vital for you to be able to stay in that marriage. So partnering with them is saying, okay, I'm here. I have decided that I want my marriage. I have decided that I'm going to forgive you. I don't know when, I don't know how long, right? But I've decided that I'm going to forgive you. However, I need to also work on my individual healing, and whatever that may look like for you. We'll talk about that probably in week 3 or week 4. I don't know. You have to work on your individual healing. Okay. Simultaneously healing through that. And part of that is you not blaming yourself. Part of that is you not continuing to think about what you could have done, what you should have done, the coulda, the woulda, the shouldas. Part of that is you not feeling guilty or allowing shame to fall on you as if you are a bad person, a bad wife, because this has happened. Part of that is you not comparing your marriage relationship to other people, marriage relationship. Part of that is you not comparing your healing journey to somebody else's. That is an individual journey that you will have to take on, and in some cases by yourself. And in other cases, you can have people that are around you to support you and that can encourage you and uplift you. Not people that are going to talk about you, not people that just want to know your business, why it happened, why did he did this and why he did that, and things of that nature, because you don't need that type of energy around you, especially if you've decided that you are going to stay in your marriage and you're going to work things out. You need positivity around you. You need people around you that are going to uplift you, that are going to encourage you, and that's going to help you get to the place of heal, because ultimately you want the marriage to be made whole. Ultimately, you want the marriage to be made whole, right? So as the wounded individual, there are a lot of things that you're going to have to do internally. And then I would say number 5, as you guys are going through that healing journey, he's getting the help that he needs. You're getting the healing that you need. Then you guys come together and see, what can we do? What type of boundaries can we establish? What type of safeguards do we need to put around our marriage? Do we need to bring God back into the marriage or bring him entirely because he was never there? Do we need accountability partners? We need to get to the root of why it even happened in the first place. If it was convenience, we need to talk about that. If it was opportunity, we need to talk about that. If your spouse was unhappy and unfulfilled and unsatisfied, we need to talk about that. And granted, these conversations are hard to have, but these conversations are necessary. These conversations are hard to have, but these conversations are necessary. Again, I truly believe that the bulk of marital issues, the root reason why these marital issues are happening and they're continuing to go on, is a lack of communication. Granted, you have other variables that are a part of that, right? You have other variables. You may have a spouse that deals with lust, or you may have a spouse that has a lying tongue, or dealing with other spiritual forces and demonic forces, to whereas they cannot show up and be the best spouse that they need to be. So we get that there are underlying issues and reasons, right? We get all of that. However, if you're not communicating and letting me know that I was molested as a child, or, my father lied to my mother, and I saw how that affected my parents' relationship, and I learned to lie that way. So if you're not sharing, then that's going to be a problem. Now, on the other side of that, you may not know what to share. You may have these things that you're feeling. You may have these this mindset that you have, and you don't even understand why. So in that case, you need to seek out professional help. Why can't I stop cheating on my wife? Why can't I stop lying to my wife? And we have to rid pride. We have to rid all level of arrogance and all level of ignorance. Ignorance is simply not knowing. Those are the three poisons that will destroy your marriage quick, fast, and in a hurry. Prideful, or any relationship for that matter. Being prideful, being arrogant, and being ignorant. We have to push those things to the side, if not remove them all entirely, if you want to save your marriage. Because if not, the love that you had will not be able to grow. It will not be able to be reestablished. You will not be able to recover it if you don't do those 5 things. So that's what I wanted to share with you all. This is going to be a series, you guys. I'm excited. On week 4, we are going to have a special guest that's going to come and share her story about infidelity and how she was able to recover from that place, and how her marriage has been made whole. The love has been restored. The peace of mind has been restored. And hopefully she'll also talk about why it happened in the first place. What was the root cause? What caused this? Because there's always a cause. There's a cause and there's an effect. There's always a reason why. Why did this happen? How did this happen? And what can we do together to make sure that it never, ever happens again? So thank you to all my replay viewers. I appreciate you for coming on and checking out Friday Night Live. We are here every Friday at 8 p.m. every Friday at 8 p.m. And prayer is every Monday through Friday at 5:30 a.m. Specifically, Mind Your Marriage Monday prayers are on Mondays at 5:30 a.m. However, our platforms do support prayers every Monday through Friday, 5:30 a.m. and then 7 a.m. on Saturdays, because this relationship was built on prayer. But this ministry, this organization was built on prayer. This community that you all are in was built on prayer. It was formed on prayer. The foundation is prayer, and it will continue to be that. My marriage was built on prayer, and it will continue to be that. And I understand that prayer is a vital part of a healthy marriage. Is one entity. It's not all inclusive. It's one entity. And if you don't have an active and a valuable prayer life to pray not only for your marriage, but to pray for your spouse, to pray for the future, I encourage you to chime in on Monday mornings at 5:30 a.m. And I also encourage you to begin to establish that personal prayer life for yourself. So listen, I hope that you guys enjoy. I pray that this helped at least one person. At least one person was blessed by this message, and they'll be able to take this message and apply it to their life, or they'll be able to share it with someone else so that they can be made whole in their marriage as well. All right, you guys, you have a great evening. I will talk to you soon. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.